We are back. Welcome. This is the Darkmoon Faire card valuation stream for the Lightforge Arena tier list. We are the Grinning Goat, and I'm Adwicta.
This is Merps. Let's talk about Mage, the good old tutorial class.
All right. Well, Mage is good. And you look at Claw Machine here, which we keep talking about, 243. So Claw Machine's pretty good in Mage, and that makes sense because think about how mages play. A little bit defensive, a little bit planning for a couple later turns, right? That's where Claw Machine shines. So Mage is what's bringing Claw Machine up. A lot of people kind of hate Mage from back in the old days when it was like the best ever for a long time. And then it got like ridiculous with the generated by meta. So really there's just a lot to hate on Mage. But in this meta, Claw Machine really is the best Mage card. So they really removed a lot of the more ridiculous mage cards from the game. Although, as I am saying this, oh, they did remove all it because I was like, I can't see Box of Yasharaj anywhere because it's gone, which is weird because the old gods are coming back and we have the Darkmoon Faire. So you would think the box would be here.
But yeah, well, first of all, it's Yogg, box of Yogg, not Yasharaj.
Oh.
You're mixing up these gods here.
I mean, they all look the same to me. That's not even species. Gods aren't a species. I don't know what that is.
But you're saying that Claw Machine is the best card in Mage, although it's really kind of semantics because the best card in this expansion is essentially neck and neck with Claw Machine.
Yep. It is the grand finale. Number one card in Mage, number one class card in Mage, which is tied with Claw Machine, basically. It is a 8-mana spell, rare. Summon an 8/8 elemental. Repeat. That's another 8/8 elemental for each elemental you played last turn. This is a 242. This is an insanely high score.
This is really freaking high, and part of the reason that it is so good is because, as you'll see, it's not going to be that hard to play elementals before you play this, and also, you're going to be able to get small elementals, and there's a cost analysis to this, right? When I'm talking about cards that you're holding, well, the payoff has to be really big. Getting another 8/8 is huge, so if you have things that are really small in which the opportunity lost of not playing it is not that big and the payoff is huge, well, that's good. You don't want situations in which you're sacrificing a lot and the payoff is small. So as you'll see here, and this is a perfect segue into the next card, it's going to be pretty easy to get elementals.
Yes. And like a lot of them. Not like Merps is like, oh, it's nice to get another 8/8. Oh no, it's gonna be nice to get like 3 more 8/8s.
Yep.
This is the grand finale. They have set up this combo, and it is really freaking easy to pull off. So before we get into the next card, just to give you an idea with an old card of what around 240 looks like, Firebrand is 230, and we all know how ridiculous Firebrand is. So this is the level of grand finale. Firebrand will help you control that mid-game and make sure nothing bad happens to you and push your aggressive strategy if you have it. But Grand Finale is the Grand Finale. Like, you do this, you win the game. And the setup to this card is rated 192. It is a 2-drop rated a 192. Remember, in this new mana system, it's really freaking hard for low mana cards to get really high scores. Because later in the game, it's still just 1 mana's worth of cards, right? You still have to piece together a lot of other cards into your turn. And so it's not the same as having a 10 mana card where the whole card is just that good, right? And then the scores really add up. So for a 2 mana card to get a 192, it's freaking insane. This is a 2 mana 3/2 Confection Cyclone. 2 mana 3/2 elemental that has a battle cry that adds 2 1/2 sugar elementals to your hand. It's a battle cry, which means not only is this a perfectly fine 2-drop, but with a oh crap, it's a battle cry. Oh no.
Well, you just said that, and then you stated that like you weren't aware of it.
I think the score is going to be higher than this. I think we may have not given it appropriate curve on turn 3 and 4 because I don't think I was doing the curve as a battle cry. Anyway, it's 192 at minimum, maybe even higher. Not by that much higher. It's not going to have a great curve on 3 or 4. But the idea is for just 4 mana, you can play 3 elementals in one turn with this totally common Mage card. And remember, class cards get shown double as often as neutral cards. And it's common, and it's really good, so you'll take it every time you see it. Like, this is stuff that's, like, better than Flame Strikes and Fireballs and stuff. So, you play a Confection Cyclone, you play the 2/1/2 Sugar Elementals you get. That's just 4 mana. You can still do anything else you want in that turn, like if you need to, like, remove something or whatever, right? So you have a very flexible turn. And then afterwards, on turn 8, you play the grand finale, and you get 4 8/8s.
Pretty good.
This is a really, really, really simple to pull off combo, and it is uninterruptible. Because none of these things have to stay alive. You just have had to have played them. So, yes, it is a 2-card combo. Yes, I'm usually very, very down on combos because they're hard to pull off. But this is uninterruptible. And it just means that by turn 7, you need to have a Sugar Elemental, not Sugar Elemental, a Confection Cyclone, and a Grand Finale in your hand.
Uninterruptible, you say? That new Paladin secret wants to have a word with you, all right? Oh my yog! Which is not good, by the way. But we'll talk about it later. But yeah, there's really no way to stop it, and it's not like you're paying really any cost for it. And Grand Finale summoning 8/8s, unless you're using a Twisting Nether or like a Doom or something like that, even Flame Strike doesn't get rid of it. It's just that good. It is the Grand Finale. You will win the game because of it. Now, the reason it's not like 300 is that you won't always get multiple 8/8s. You won't always be able to do that. We're looking at these combos and be like, oh, it's crazy. Well, Grand Finale isn't a guaranteed 8 mana quadruple 8/8. So you have to temper expectations a little bit. But is it that good, and is it consistent enough for this to be crazy and for you to hate mages? Yeah, it actually is. It just is.
Yeah, and also, like, Grand Finale is 8 mana. It's going to use up basically your entire turn, and you have no initiative. So this is not, like, getting large taunts. This is not getting rush minions. Like, just at this late stage in the game, extra stats are only worth so much. So, I mean, it's worth a lot. That's why it's at, like, at 242, but that's why it's not at 300. Like, I don't think there's any way to look at this card and have an argument for why it's not over, like, why it's over 200. I think the argument, if anything, is like, why is this secretly not an even more busted card? Because I think it seems more busted than it is. It's still busted, but it's 240 busted. And remember, 240 these days can't even be considered that high because Claw Machine exists. That is just a neutral, common card, and it exists at basically the same level as Grand Finale. And that is because you're still using a turn to basically do nothing that affects the board, even if you put 4 8/8s on the board. Like, your opponent can still kill you the next turn, or put up a couple taunts and then, like, go phase and then kill you the turn after, right? Like, you still got a little work to do. You don't just win the game with the Grand Finale, even if you do set it up.
But you will win the game lots of times.
Yes, you will win the game most of the time. Okay. So, but by the way, in case you're wondering, and you're like, oh, but Confection Cyclone is just one card. It's just a combo. What about it without a combo? Well, don't worry. Blizzard has you covered. The next best card in Mage in this expansion is a Fireworks Elemental. So another Elemental, and it is a 163. And a 163 puts it at Smug Senior levels. So it's still really good, and you're still probably going to take it over almost anything you're offered. And it is a common also, so you're just going to get it a lot. It is a 5 mana 3/5 Elemental. With Battlecry, deal 3 damage to a minion. So it's like a mini fire elemental. And then Corrupt, deal 12 damage instead.
Why 12? What? Why does it have to be 12? What's the point of that?
It's for that one card that all the damage it takes gets passed on to your hero, so that you could just be like, die.
Well, it still doesn't kill Ultrasaur, so pretty useless. But look, we talk about corrupt mechanic and how it's like when you're talking about something at 5 mana, it's really awkward to use and everything.
Mm-hmm.
The thing with this is a 3/5 that just deals 3 damage to a minion is good.
Yeah.
It's still very good. It's like having a 3 like it's basically like it has rush, and then the HP is like a lot higher than what it actually has, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you hit into something, it takes away from the health or whatever. So here's an example where if you corrupt it, yeah, it's really good. You won't need the 12 damage a lot of times, so you're increasing from like 3 damage to like 5 or 6 damage lots of times. But the base card itself is just decent, at least. Like, not even just decent, like pretty freaking good. So 163. Don't even need to corrupt it for it to be good.
Yep. So moving on, in case you're wondering, Fireball's a 143. All these like single target removals have like really gone down in value. It's just there's too many cards that generate more cards that if you're trading one card for one card, you're not actually doing all that great on the card advantage side. Okay, so the next one is all the way down at 118. 118 is where like the broomstick is. It's where like Blizzard is. Twilight Flamecaller is over here. Polymorph is down here. And it is a rigged fair game. Rigged fair game is epic. It is 3 mana. Secret. If you didn't take any damage during your opponent's turn, draw 3 cards. So 3 mana, draw 3 cards. Normally it would take 5 mana to draw 3 cards. This one's only 3 mana, so you gain 2 mana off what it would normally do, but it is a secret, and to trigger it, you kind of have to at least be fighting enough for the board to occupy your opponents. It plays a lot of mind games, because your opponent may want to go to your face, but if they do go to your face, it may trigger stuff like Vaporize. Now, sadly, Flame Ward is no longer in the game, so it doesn't actually play that much mind games in the arena, but I think it's meant for and constructed to help with that.
But the payoff is still pretty huge. Like, the payoff is still pretty huge. It does play the mind games there, and once again, this is you have ways in order to like remove their stuff. Like, as Mage, you have lots of ways to remove their stuff. And as we've seen with stuff like Sanctuary, forcing your opponent to hit your face instead of hit something else already has a lot of power to it. So, yep.
Yeah, and your opponent will not guess that it is rigged fair game. It's an epic secret. That's going to be one of the lesser likely secrets, even though it's pretty damn good. So it'll be in the back of their minds, but it really messes with their actions if they're trying to do this. And for you as a player, it's going to be real annoying. Like, you're going to be really annoyed by the existence of the secret. Okay, next up is 109. Keep in mind, Yeti and Mage is 102, so 109 is a little bit better than a Yeti. It's about where Bog Creeper is, a little below Scarlet Crusader. It's a Divine Rager. And it is Ring Toss. 4 mana, discover a secret and cast it. Corrupt, discover 2 instead.
Yep. I don't know. Look, here's the thing about secrets. You don't want them in your deck because you don't know when you want to use what, right? Like, the problem with drafting a Vaporize or drafting a counterspell is that, well, I don't know. Like, I have to draw it. It has to be appropriate for that time. So this is one of those situations where you look at it, you're like, oh, it's not that great. But the later you can decide a secret, the better it is.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what helps out Ring Toss, first of all, even if you don't corrupt it. Because we're saying Mage secrets are bad. They're bad to draft. A lot of them are really good for the situation,
Yes.
but you have to decide that way early on, right? This is the power of Discover. And now, after you corrupt it, if you're able to get 2, that's amazing. You get to pick 2 for the specific situation that you are in. That's super duper good. So this is one of those cards where at first I was like, man, like corrupting is hard. Let's not go away from that. Corrupting something is hard. And corrupting something that's 4, it's not as hard as corrupting something that's 5, but like still not easy.
Mm-hmm.
But choosing a secret later on is so much better than being able to draft it. So you will pay that mana increase.
Especially because most of the mage secrets, they scale, right? Like your mirror entity will copy the largest thing. It'll copy a 10 drop just the same as it'll copy a 2 drop. Vaporize, same, right? Like counterspell, same. So all these scaling things are really nice. And like just don't worry about ring toss. Just keep it in your hand, wait till it gets corrupted, and then play it. And it'll be worth it. Next up is a common one, a common card for Mage, 2 mana, 2/3, nice curve play. The first secret you play each turn costs 1 mana, so it's I don't know. Let me look at where Croc is. Croc is 102, so this is getting like 6 points for saving 2 mana on secrets. You're just not expected to have that many secrets. I don't know.
Yeah. You shouldn't be drafting a lot of them. That's the thing.
Next up is a rare spell, 7 mana, Mask of Cthulhu. Deal 10 damage randomly split among all enemies. Also known to Twitch chat at 7 mana Pyroblast. It could be, right? Like, the randomness really kind of hurts it. We've seen this before. This is Avenging Wrath. But it's like better. Is it just strictly better? Is Avenging Wrath 7 mana?
No. Avenging Wrath is 6 for 8.
Oh, okay. So this is just a continuation of basically what Avenging Wrath does. It's like a tiny bit better. But yeah. I don't know. Not much to say about this.
Okay. Next, we have Occult Conjurer. It's a 4 mana, 4/4 battle cry. If you control a secret, summon a copy of this.
It is very unlikely for you to control a secret, and 4 mana 4/4s are trash these days. Like, there was a time, like, I remember way back in Classic when 3 mana 3/3s were, like, kind of okay to play on 3, and then, at a certain point, 3 mana 3/3s became not really on curve. These days, 4 mana 4/4s are not really on curve either, and 5 mana 5/5s are barely on curve now. We're just kind of moving to this, like, higher value area.
Yep. So this is 69.
Mm-hmm. And it's an epic card. You won't see it very often.
And you won't see it that often. So there you go.
All right. Well, that's kind of it.
All right. Look, mages are going to play a lot of elementals. They're going to win off Grand Finale. One of the things you might start to think about is if the game is kind of close and if you are a little bit in doubt as to, do I go face or do I trade? You might want to lean going face. If you're afraid of that, like, oh man, that Grand Finale or that turn 8, or if in the later turns suddenly
the big tell. Yeah, at any point in the late game where Mage starts playing the Confection Cyclone and plays both 1/2s on the same turn, just play around a Grand Finale to the extent that you can. And basically what that means is start going face because you don't really have a chance. Like, go face and then put down a bunch of minions with the assumption that if they play a Grand Finale, they can't do anything else with their other 2 mana. And so therefore you will be able to go face and kill them the next turn. That is your one out. You're not going to be able to start like trading on the board against the Grand Finale after they get the Cyclone Confection Cyclone like combo. So like, that's a huge tell.
Yep. So what you want to do is basically say, like, okay, even if you're extending into Flame Strike, the fact that they play tons of elementals is a huge tell that they're setting up for the grand finale. And you'd rather them wipe your board so that you guys can play even one-on-one rather than them just overloading with a bunch of elementals. And once again, this is only for the next turn. Once they've played all of their elementals, their grand finale, it only summons a single 8/8. So if you can disrupt that as much as possible, / if you are pushing damage and putting pressure on the mage and you can stop them from playing the grand finale to good effect, that is what you need to do. Even super extending into that flame strike, that's just what you have to do.
Yep. That's Mage. It's going to be very focused on this combo. And it may be ridiculous enough that Blizzard just nerfs Grand Finale offering rates and people just won't see it, and then it'll be less of a thing. But if Grand Finale is seen and offered in any reasonable amount, it's going to be the centerpiece of all Mage play. It's just that good. All right. So you got any shout outs before we move on to the next class?
Yes. So look, guys, shout out to everyone who is watching and supporting us. Thank you guys so much, whether it's on YouTube or on Twitch. We appreciate you guys. All right. This is an interesting show where we never mess up, obviously. Okay. And there's obviously no downtime, but we appreciate you guys staying through that. So have a Merp's heart. Thank you guys so much. And we'll see you in the next video.
Yeah, I do want to talk about one more thing before we go to the next video, actually. Look at the picture of Ring Toss. Why are we discovering secrets? What is the connection here?
I don't know. You're asking for a lot here.
You're tossing rings, but somehow you're finding secrets? Just wanted to throw it out there. If anyone figures it out, comment. If you're watching this on YouTube, comment or tweet it at me or something. I am very curious in what people think the connection is between this image and the concept of ring toss versus the actual ability. All right. See you guys next. We are doing Paladin.